All right. What's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the second time I'm recording this video today. Unbelievable. The first one, the audio was just completely not there. I was posting it, getting it ready to go, and it just wasn't there. This is also the third time in total I'm recording this video, so hopefully I have some practice in terms of what I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna present to you guys. So without further ado, y'all, let's run it. So the media consumes you, right? Let's be honest, guys. We live in a digital age. We live in an age where everything kind of seems to be on the internet. And unfortunately, this comes with addiction for many people. Whether that be to certain applications on the internet, Instagram, TikTok, unnamed applications or websites, X website, whatever. So, I kind of want to, teach you guys and educate y'all on how to shift your media consumption from bad to good. Because not all media is bad. You have to realize that pretty much everything you consume that's not food, right? So, everything you're taking in information wise is some form of media, right? So, a book is media. Um, Even going to watch a play is media. Also, a big shout out to Gerber Johnson. Gerber Johnson, he's a YouTuber. Really enjoy watching his stuff. He mostly posts on his second channel now, Gerbert's Void. But he made a video like this a couple years back, and I watched it recently, and this was kind of the inspiration, or that was kind of the inspiration for this. So yeah, go check his stuff out. He's got really good stuff, a lot like this. He's very educated. He's also a younger dude. So, and he's not like a red pill goober, at all. He's really funny. So go peep him. Anyway, let's get into this. So, first, the spectrum of bad versus good media. So, in my opinion, after especially watching that video by Gerber, realizing that there are forms of media that, it's such a broad range, right? You have everything from TikTok to classical literature. That's all media. So, this is a spectrum of bad media versus good media, or you could say good versus bad media. I'm going to go in order of bad versus good, kind of explain all of them, explain how much you should consume those forms of media, what you should consume, the strategies you should take, maybe to not consume them. So, first, we got forbidden fruit. All right. I'm going to let y'all kind of assume and infer what this may be. But it had to be mentioned. It had to be mentioned because of the absolute crisis of forbidden fruit viewers. Um, it's pretty well regarded that males, they kind of get more of a bad rep, but females, dude, it's on the up and up, unfortunately. So that is an untouchable form of media. That is disgusting. It's evil. Now, you are not, a disgusting person if unfortunately you've fallen into some sort of addiction with that, and I don't feel as though it's really my lane to give tips on how to stop consuming the forbidden fruit. There's a lot of other info out there on how to, so kind of want to get a little serious here before we have some fun on this video. I just want to kind of out that before we get into anything else. That's an untouchable form. So anyway, all seriousness aside, that's the worst form I can really think of outside of like weird niche stuff. I'm not even gonna get into. Um, but anyway, then on the bad side, still we have TikTok, and also Instagram Reels would fall under TikTok as well, right? So this is kind of a form of media you wouldn't really want to consume at all. I would say delete TikTok completely because it completely steals your info, and it's just it's kind of a stupid app. Like I never have had TikTok personally, but seems pretty dumb. I don't know. It's I'm not gonna like really really sugarcoat it. I don't like TikTok, so I would say just get off that. There's not really much value in that at all. I know like now you can talk to friends or you can like send TikToks on the app and like text and stuff, but like you can just do that on iMessage or Instagram. I would also put Snapchat in the same lane as this. Delete Snapchat completely. It's stupid. A lot of it is, unfortunately, very sexualized content. We have teenage guys and girls. And I'm not saying it's like weird, like super crazy, but they're putting themselves out there to the world, and not saying all of them are crazy, but what I really mean is that you don't want to really talk to these people. Snapchat is a glorified Tinder for teens. It's a dating app for children. And so a lot of the people, you figure on Tinder, Tinder is essentially an app where you meet a lot of probably not spouse marriage quality people. Excuse the voice crack there, but marriage quality people. Snapchat's the same deal. Um, just get off the app. And then Instagram is kind of one where, well, I might have a little bit of bias, but I think Instagram is a little bit more acceptable, right? A lot of people are on there just to kind of see what their friends are up to, or see what's going on. That's also I think more of a people use that to text people, more than like TikTok and Snap. I mean, Snap people used to text, but like Snap is so dumb. Just bro. Instagram's kind of like valid. I don't know. Maybe because it's one of my favorite apps ever, but I don't really be on it anymore. Not really on it. YouTube's still top for me. It's the go. But IG, I would say really if you're addicted, delete it for like 6 months, right? Don't go back on it for like 6 months and then get back on. So, you won't be as addicted. And you've kind of now realized that you can live without Instagram. And then you'll be fine probably from there. And just avoid reels like the plague. Like if a friend sends you a reel, that's fine. But don't actively try and like scroll on reels, on a solo mission, just scrolling. That's mm, that's kind of stupid. That's kind of pointless. It doesn't really add anything to your life, and it's really a time killer. So just completely eliminate that. That's what I would say. But Instagram, a little bit more acceptable because you can like post on your story, right? You can do like cool posts, photo dumps, whatever. Um, Although I can't stand the people who like document their life on Instagram. I think it's okay, dude. I think it's okay if like, you went on a cool trip and like you're trying to post a few pics that you've got on the trip and it was like fun, or like you're creative. I got a friend, man. And he's more on the creative side, musical side. There's a lot of music and he posts on there. That's fine. I get that. Or if like you're using it for business purposes, that's valid. But I don't know how many people use it for business purposes, especially like just general population. You're probably not using it for business. So that's what I would say for the bad side of media. Avoid a lot of it like the plague. Some of it, okay, right? It's like food. We're gonna kind of get into the media diet here. I'll probably explain it on this slide. And then in kind of the neutral part of this, we have YouTube. YouTube, I would say there's a good and bad to it, right? A yin and a yang type of situation going on here. Unfortunately, most people, probably you, me sometimes as well, use it for the bad, right? We use it to just kind of entertain ourselves with slop content. I personally don't use shorts, and I think my viewers, the small community we have, but my viewers are sophisticated enough to know not to use shorts, and to not use shorts. It's I think really no one uses shorts unless they're like 10 years old. So I'm assuming you guys don't use them. But outside of that, if you are using them, get off. Outside of that, there's still a lot of slop content. It's not like full length content is automatically good. There's still a lot of stupid content you can consume that's in that field, right, in that genre. So get off of that as well. I would say avoid that just as much. Um, get on the good side of YouTube, right? There's educational stuff out there. There's a lot that you might be missing out on that's on YouTube, and that's great content. I do think it's one of the best, like most high leverage things is YouTube. If you know how to use it well, dude, you're golden. There's so much good stuff out there. And, if you sit down for 2 hours a day and watch educational stuff and take mental notes and take notes and actually pay attention to it, bro, you like after a year will be so well versed in stuff. I do think that. Although I still watch like entertaining stuff on there sometimes, right? It's not like I completely avoid it, but for the most part, I try and I limit my consumption of the bad on there. But the good, I do think, can be as valuable as books, if not more valuable. But I do also think that the bad side, the YouTube slop side, can be, well, unfortunately, in this league, um, honestly, it's crazy just what's on there on both sides of the spectrum. So make sure you're on the good side of YouTube. That's what I would say. And if you can't be, if you're just too addicted to the bad side, the slop side, there's extensions you can get. I know like where it blocks a lot of stuff on YouTube. I would get those, if you can. If you can't, delete YouTube. Delete YouTube. You don't need it completely, but I think it is actually a valuable tool if used well. Just make sure you're not addicted to it. That's my biggest issue, man, is YouTube consumption. But anyways, outside of that, moving on to the big leagues, we got movies. So once again, I think movies can definitely go down to the this league, if not worse, bro. Like, make sure you're avoiding the weird kind of movies that are out there. That's what I would say. A lot of girls, especially guys too, but a lot of girls, and this isn't like to hate. I don't know why, but a lot of them are into like these weird, horror films that are just honestly like nasty, dude. So avoid that stuff. It messes with your mind, and I could probably find some stuff that backs that up. I'm not going to on this video, but there's no doubt, especially when it gets into like the gory stuff, that's gonna mess with your mind in some way. So many people, rightfully so, act, go against, think consuming like gore content is disgusting and evil. And it is, 100% it is. But then they'll go out and watch a movie that's just the same. So, make sure you're not being, hypocritical when it comes to that stuff. Avoid both. Don't consume both. Avoid both. But if you can find good movies like Gladiator, I put on here. Rocky, dude. Rocky's great. Um, what else is there? Heat. Heat is pretty good, I would say. I would say the Creed franchise is solid. Tombstone. Tombstone's a really good movie. Top Gun. Movies like that are going to kind of inspire you, that have masculine characters as at kind of the forefront of the movie. Those can be a lot better than even books like we're gonna get into. Especially like temporarily, right? Like I watch Gladiator and it gives me this temporary boost for like a week or two where I'm just like, yeah, dude, like that inspired me a lot to kind of lock in and, be on my own gladiator type ish, right? Type stuff. Um those can be very inspirational for the short term. So I think sitting yourself down, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and watching a movie like this with your full attention can be really, really, really valuable. So yeah, definitely, movies are good. And also, if you are able to, watch a movie, sit yourself down for 2 to 3 hours and watch a movie, that is better than a lot of the population nowadays. You're doing a lot better. You have a pretty good attention span. So yeah. Um, and then the highest form of media, you could also put like plays in here. I guess that would really more so go in the movies. Books. They're timeless. This is literally what has been used to educate and inform the masses for literally like since the beginning of civilization, dude. Right? Religious texts, um, you know, classical literature. It's timeless. I put 1984 here because I just finished it. It's probably one of my favorite books ever. I got it right here. It's like always on me, dude. It's always, lurking my general, province. But yeah, 1984, banger of a book. Classical fiction like this as well. 1984, The Hobbit, Brave New World. I've also heard is great. I haven't read it personally. Lord of the Rings, even I do think that can actually be valuable. Um, The Odyssey, Shakespeare. I don't know, dude. I'm not gonna read Shakespeare personally. I think it's buns. Is I can't stand it. But it's probably valuable. Like, you know what I mean? Poetry, reading classical poetry, like this stuff, though seen as very nerdy, and sometimes even nowadays, feminine. Um, why are you reading poetry, bro? It's like kind of stupid, dude. Like it's valuable, right? You don't want to be completely one dimensional where all you're good at is, you know, being kind of a physical specimen, you could say, where you're like a gym bro, right? You're into the martial arts. That's all good, but you also want to be versed in classical literature, in the arts as well. Science, I guess, too. I don't know. I don't think it's super essential, but the arts have really defined us as a civilization for since the beginning of time. So, yeah, books. Like if you can sit yourself down, read a book for 2 hours, you're very much ahead of the curve. Um, but make sure you're not reading weird content because once again, books can go down into this category. Unfortunately, um, this kind of stuff sells. So that's really only in the female sphere though. Like I don't think a lot of guys read that type of stuff at all. Um, but yeah, make sure you're reading the classics. Not just the classics, but good books. Doesn't always have to be like the most popular book, but it can be something that's still educational and still provides a lot of good information. 1984, good place to start. Um, but if you're really not into reading at all, maybe read something like easier, like The Lord of the Rings, or you're like, more of kind of kids based books. It's fine. You're just starting out. You need to start somewhere. And those are still going to be valuable, informational. The Narnia series, too. Um, but yeah, this is the spectrum of good versus bad media. And this is a good time, good at break, intermission to talk about the information diet, the media diet. So I'm going to use an analogy of bulking versus cutting, good versus bad foods. So if you have, if you're eating 3,000 calories a day of really trash food, right? You're going out to McDonald's, freaking KFC, Doritos, slop, goy slop, as many people like to call it. Um, that's going to be a lot worse than if you eat 3,000 calories of eggs, potatoes, freaking steak, chicken, nuts, right? Whole foods, single ingredient foods. That's going to be a lot better. You'll probably actually see a lot more muscle gain and less fat gain on that. Your energy is going to be a lot better. Your testosterone, right? Your hormonal functions are going to be so much better, right? Your overall androgen profile and hormonal profile is going to be so much better. This goes with media. This goes with information. Say you consume media for 5 hours a day. Let's use 5 hours a day. It's kind of an easy number to follow. If those 5 hours are spent scrolling on reels, watching YouTube slop, God forbid you're in this league as well. That is a lot worse than if you spend 5 hours a day. Let's say you spend an hour and a half watching, like, freaking good educational content on YouTube, a couple hours reading. Maybe at the end of the day, it's like a weekend day, you're chilling, and you go out and watch like an hour and a half long good movie like Rocky. The difference in person you will become, just based on those two different things, is so huge. It's so big, and it needs to be emphasized that you need to have an information diet. Now, if you eat 8,000 calories a day of high quality food, you're still going to get really fat. But it's a lot harder to eat 8,000 calories a day on really high quality whole ingredient foods than 8,000 calories of slop. And this goes for this. It's a lot easier. It's still going to be bad if you're consuming media 10 to 12 hours a day, even if it's like a book. I do think like you need to have downtime where you're just kind of walking around. You're in silence, you're hanging out with friends. You're not always consuming. But it's a lot easier to watch YouTube and scroll on reels for 10 hours than it is to sit yourself down and read for 10 hours. Even watch movies for 10 hours. It's a lot harder to do that, especially read, right? You're probably not going to do that. That's relatively impossible, especially in today's day and age, dude. So don't worry so much about that. You will be fine if you keep your main forms of media, the good side of YouTube, right? So kind of like this left side where we're moving more into the good. Freaking inspirational movies, classical books, educational books. If that's your main form of media consumption and you have pretty much eliminated these two, especially completely eliminated this, you'll be thriving and you'll be doing so much better than the average population. All right. The media illusion. This is kind of a theory, a thesis I've had. I'm not going to try and like back it up too much. It's just, I don't know. So, no matter what media you consume, it's always still going to be distilled down somewhat. Even me talking is distilled by the fact that I am just pixels on a screen, right? I am not in the third dimension. I'm not actually here with you right now talking to you in real life. So, in real life, you're not limited to 4K HD Ultra or 8K HD Ultra. I don't even know if that's a real thing. You get what I mean. You're in real life. Real life doesn't beat real life. Media will always lose to the real thing. If I were here giving this presentation to you in real life, right? If I were, say, lecturing you in real life, if I came in to speak at like Harvard or MIT, because I'm such a good and eloquent, speaker and educational on the go, um, then that's going to be a lot better than me speaking to you over a computer because it's actually there. It's real life. It's reality. It's not, you know, watered down, distilled. So it's best to limit your media consumption in general. Now, I don't think this is really more of a digital problem. With books, this isn't really an issue because this book is here. It's in my hands. The text, though, I guess you could say it looks two-dimensional, is actually three-dimensional, right? And so that's what you want. You want real life. So, yeah, books are elite, though. Put it there. It's kind of a side note. What I mean by media consumption in this context really is going to be digital media consumption. Don't be a digital cell. Don't be a tech cell, right? Get out in real life. That's what I'd say. Practical steps for consuming less media, consuming less digital media, especially. These help me. So, no morning and evening digital use. Go on these mini digital detoxes in the morning and evening. Now it is the morning. It's 10:08 for me right now. I've been working since probably like 7, no, probably 8. I've been working on this, whole video. I had to freaking re-record. That took like an hour, so kind of annoyed, but it is what it is. I'm using, technology for work, for actually getting stuff done and being productive and educating people. Um, 2 hours upon waking, I would say don't use media for anything but work. Right. So sometimes we gotta go to school. Say you wake up at 6:30 and you're in school at 7:30 and you gotta be on your Chromebook, to type up an essay or something like that in your first hour class. I had to do that a lot this year because my first hour class was American Lit. That's fine. That's excusable completely. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. But what I mean is really scrolling, being a tech cell, bro. Don't be a tech cell. Um, 2 hours before bed, I would say, if possible, just don't be on technology at all. That's what I would actually say. Like, don't be working, don't be doing anything like that. Just be off of it, dude. Allow yourself time to wind down before bed and actually turn off for, a little while. That's what I would say when it comes to that. That's probably going to reduce 1 to 3 hours of screen time off rip, especially junk screen time, right? Consuming slop. At night and in the morning is when most people, in the afternoon, you're usually working or you're at school. Right now, I'm on summer break, so it's a little bit different. But in the morning and evening is when you're usually on your phone, right? On technology, scrolling, getting your hit of dopamine in. Well, if you're not doing that in the morning and evening, you're probably going to reduce a lot, like 1 to 3 hours of time on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube off rip, dude, or Apple Music even. I think music, if consumed in excess, is bad. And I'm actually, well, my headphones freaking broke again. So I really can't be on music too much this week. So I'm probably just going to detox from music, for a week or two. Um, I've been kind of listening to it too much, and it's just kind of not hitting the same. So it might be good to just be off of it, dude. Um, Also, don't have devices during meals. I struggle with this the most, dude. I really do. If you are able to not use technology while eating a meal, bro, you're so ahead of the curve. You're probably ahead of me, dude. So don't have devices during meals. If you can do that, you're ahead of me. You're ahead of the guy freaking teaching you, dude. Right? The young grasshopper has prospered, right? So, um, also huge thing. This is what I love to do. Go outside without your device, right? Don't have music in. Don't have anything going. Don't have your phone on you. Go on a walk for 30 minutes to an hour. Go in your backyard or your yard. Just chill, right? Just enjoy being outside. I feel like, kids, they're so good at just soaking that in and taking that in, when it comes to nature. We lose that when we get older. I don't think we should. I think we should be outside and enjoy just being outside and having fun, right? Another thing, don't feel so obligated to reply to text immediately. They probably don't care that much if, you don't reply immediately. And, if it's an emergency, that's a different situation, but don't feel so obligated. So, with that, guys, hopefully you guys got something out of this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Um, I just want to kind of educate you guys on this digital crisis that we're in because I struggle with this a lot myself. So, I kind of want to teach you guys on how to fix this as well, especially when it comes to like reels and whatnot. Yeah, I really